This is what a great video feels like. What's up? What's good? We are back on the channel today with another banger. And today, I get to review one of my favorite pop albums of all time. This is what Blank Feels Like by Jake. And this album is his first album. It released in 2022, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite pop albums, as I said earlier, of all time, and it really resonates with me. There's so many bangers on it, and I just love the album. So I cannot wait to review this. So without further ado, let's get it. All right, let's get into the artist ability. From a technical standpoint, this album is amazing. The vocals are great, as Jake's voice really pours through the piece, and you can really hear his sadness, his joy, and all the emotions that you want to hear. The lyricism is fantastic. It really hits home, and it's really relatable. Along with that, the production is just top tier. It really adds a lot to the piece and each song, and I feel like the production kind of drives home the points he's trying to make and makes it hit even harder than it already does with the lyricism and the vocals. So from a sheer artist's ability, this album is just amazing, you know. Next, we delve into the album quality, and also from an album quality standpoint, this album is amazing. There's no skips, and there's not even a single bad song necessarily. The worst song I would say is I'm Not Okay, but even then, that song is just amazing. It's a great song. So it's hard to pick a bad song because there are no bad songs. So I would say that's the worst song on the album, but it's still an amazing song. And in terms of the popular songs, you obviously have Golden Hour, which absolutely blew up and kind of shot Jake up to superstardom in terms of the pop game. You also have This Is What Falling in Love Feels Like, and This Is What Heartbreak Feels Like. So those are the three biggest songs on the album in terms of streams and popularity. But I personally feel the best songs are Ghost Town, Wonder If She Loves Me, and also This Is What Heartbreak Feels Like. I feel those three really hit home. Those are the three best songs. They really embody the emotions that they were trying to categorize, which is heartbreak and getting over a former love the best. So I feel those are the best songs. So again, from a sheer album standpoint, this album is great. So you guys know how big concept is for me. I feel the concept of an album can put it over the top and take it from a good album to an elite album, you know? And I think that's what happens with this album. The concept is probably one of the best I've seen from a pop album. So essentially what happens is This Is What Blank Feels Like contains essentially 4 volumes, right? It talks about, in the first 3 songs, Jake talks about falling in love with a girl, and he's at the highest of highs. He's in love. He loves life, and the next 3 kind of show how the girl kind of cheats on him and is still thinking about her ex. So it's not really heartbreak yet. They haven't broken up, but he's at the starting stage of heartbreak and kind of feels betrayed, right? And then the following 3 songs, that's when the breakup happens and he's really heartbroken. He's really spiraling. He can't stop thinking about her, and he's really struggling mentally. And then the final 3 songs is where he finally gets over it, realizes that she was not meant to be with him, and honestly for the better, because she cheated on him and didn't treat him well. And he then eventually falls in love with another girl. So it's really a beautiful album in terms of the seasons it goes through, in terms of falling in love to getting your heart broken and then falling out of love and then falling in love with another girl, you know? I feel it kind of portrays how the life cycle of love can go usually, in general, and it really portrays those emotions really well. And because of that, I think it's a really cool concept, because I haven't really seen many other albums do a concept like this, right? And especially pop albums, because a lot of pop albums nowadays, and I guess even in general, like the biggest pop albums of all time don't really like have a certain concept that ties everything together, you know? Like think about any like Michael Jackson album, like Thriller, Bad. They don't really have like specific concepts that tie everything together. But here we have like a young artist that tries to make innovative music, but also attaches a really cool concept to the album. So I really appreciate that in terms of like pop artists. So as a result, from a conceptual standpoint, this album is a banger. You know, because the roller coaster emotions is just great, and you can essentially like fit like any mood and any feeling with this album. So it's a classic. So as a result, all things considered, this album is amazing. Jake has no other albums to this point, and he has talked about not like making any other albums. I hope not, because he's one of my favorite like up and coming pop artists. So I would definitely love another pop album from him. But so as a result, it's gonna be his best album because it's his only album until now. And I genuinely think this is such an elite album because of all the things considered, right? Like Jake does really well from an artist standpoint. The album as a whole, there's no skips. It's clean. Um, there's no like not even any like meh or bad songs, you know. And the concept really just puts it over the top. And as a result, I would put it in one of my top 5 favorite pop albums of all time. I don't know if it's a top 5 like best album of all time in terms of pop, but it's definitely up there. And I think it's so good that it should be considered one of the best pop albums of all time. Like I don't know where I'd rank it, but it's definitely up there. Like it's such a good album, and if you guys have not listened to it yet, please give it a listen. It's so good. And I know Jake's not really like underground, but I also feel like he's kind of underrated, you know? Like he does have like 20 million plus or so like Spotify listeners, but I feel like no one's really like talking about this album as much nowadays. And even when it came out, no one was really like hyping it up, even though it really deserved to be hyped up like that. So this album is amazing. Um, Again, one of my favorite pop albums and one of the best of all time. And as a result, I think I have to give this like a 9 out of 10. That's all we have for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And comment down below what you guys think about the album. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think I'm too high on the album? Whatever it is, just let me down below. And continue supporting the channel. I really appreciate the support. Along with that, maybe also engage with like my community posts. I'm specifically doing this thing every week where that's called Music of the Week, where I highlight like my favorite song, give like an honorable mention or something, and then highlight my favorite album. So I think that's like a really cool thing to do. We could just create a community there. But yeah, continue supporting the channel, and until next time.